All right, I just want to show you some tricks with the electrical outlet you might want to know before you call the electrician. Now, on this unit here, when I throw this switch there, this should be lit up. That's already failed. Now, this unit here will tell you if the outlet's hot. It won't tell you which side is hot. So I got to hit the button, and when you hold this, there's a little sound thing on the back. All right, there we go. All right, so this outlet's hot. I'm on the thing again. All right, so what a piece of junk. Still telling me it's hot. All right, let's use the real one. All right, we plug this in, and let's make sure it's in the frame. We turn it on, and these two have to light. If this one lights, it means the outlet's wired up wrong. This thing basically might tell you if the outlet's hot. It's really a piece of junk, and there's a little sound thing on the back. If you put your finger over it, you won't make any sound. It could be the batteries are bad. What a piece of junk. I've had another one fail, so this one's no good now. But this is what I always use. This is a real one I bought at an electrical store. And so the other way to tell if an outlet's hot is you plug a radio into a light or a radio into a known working socket. You then unplug it and walk over and plug it into the socket. And what that's good for is you're really putting the socket under a load. So the light bulb doesn't light. All right, so now what it could be that outlet. The screws in the back of the socket inside. I'm not going to go into that because there's some type of liability involved. In other words, it could be the screws are loose in the outlet. And the trick is you find the outlet in the area that the wife uses for the vacuum cleaner. And women don't pull the plug out of the wall. They yank the whole line cord and it loosens the outlet up. And that how the outlets are wired is it comes from the box, it goes to one outlet, comes off the bottom of that outlet to the next outlet. So it's like daisy chained. And if you loosen the screws on one, the next outlet doesn't work. It can be very confusing. You think the outlet that's not working is the problem, but it's not. It's the one before it. And when this thing works, I might just have bad batteries. I changed the battery once already. This almost made me go off. Yeah, it's the battery. If I keep it on too long. All right. Well, anyway, this will let you know if the outlet's hot. What a piece of junk. They put that thing right where you would hold it. When I first bought this, I thought it was really good. Anyway, so when you do find the outlet that's hot, you plug a radio into it. And you say, why plug a radio into it? Oh, and you got to make sure the radio, when you unplug it, goes off. You could have a radio that is both batteries and line cords. So when you pull the line cord out of the wall, you want the radio to go off. Now you plug the radio into the outlet that's hot, and you want to shut off the circuit breaker. So you turn the radio up pretty loud, and when you're over at the circuit breaker, you can hear the radio. And shut the breakers off one at a time and give it about a second. And then you'll hear the radio go off. And then come back and put something real into the outlet and make sure it's dead. And then go looking inside. Now there's two types of outlets that I've run into. One has terminals and they loosen up. And it's always a vacuum cleaner, the outlet. In each room there's an outlet the women use for their vacuum. And the guy next door to me, he goes, my outlet outside the house won't work. I've changed it. And I said, did you look at the outlet inside on that wall? He goes, no. I said, ask the wife if she uses that outlet for the vacuum cleaner. He comes the next day, he goes, I also said to him, open that one up. I said, the screws are going to be loose. He comes over, he calls me over, he goes, man, how'd you know that? I said, I bought a new stereo, and I had it in the living room set up. And it wasn't a powerful stereo. It was like 20 watts per channel, and the lights started blinking in the living room. And my father starts ragging on me that I brought home a big stereo that's going to run the electric bill off. And he's going, like that. Now, my dad had a TV repair shop. And I went and got the manual. I showed him the wattage the thing pulls. It's down at low. What it was is my mother's terminal, that the outlet that she used for the vacuum cleaner, the screws were loose. And that's what was causing the stereo to blink. It was intermittent, the outlet, and it was on the other side of the room, but it went through the wall to that other outlet. I traced it all out. I went in and I tightened the screws up and that fixed it. But my father's like, I don't want that stereo in the house. It's drawing too much current. I'm like, oh my God. But after he got about 50 years old, he got weird. In some of the videos, I tell you, he gets weird, and then people do weird things to him. He takes the car in, brand new car. He takes the car in to have it greased. He's going on a trip, and the guy that greased it greased the frickin' rotors of the front brake system. He must have put the grease gun on a fitting, and it wasn't empty, and it sprayed all out. So my dad drove all the way to Nashville with no front brakes, and then he came home. People bought. It was a new car. People wanted to try it out. It was a Citation, and when they tried it out, they said to my father, "You have no brakes in that car." So he drove all the way home, and then that's when he had the heart failure, and then he took the car in to get it looked at, and they told him he ran over road tar, and it was all up in the. It was the guy that told him that's the guy that sprayed the grease into the front wheels. I took the front wheels off the car, and I found all the grease inside the wheel, and I cleaned it all up for him and everything. And he was actually getting angry for once in his life. They fucked me. He said. He almost died with the heart failure, and he was mad at the world. He changed it even more after that. He wasn't taking crap from anybody anymore. But I just want to tell you, there's two types of outlets. They have screws, and they have what's called a stab or jab connection. You strip the wire and you stick it in a hole, and it says like white, black, and maybe green on the back of it. Well, when that outlet, if you have one outside, if you use an electric lawnmower, the surge, every time you put the electric lawnmower on and off, it basically draws a little bit more current than the outlet can really handle. And what happens is, I believe it was a silver connection, loses its temper. It's a spring-loaded grabber. You put the wire past it, it's like an arrow. It goes in and gets stuck in there. Well, you can pull it right out very easily. The metal that the silver side's made out of, if you stress it with any kind of extra current, it loses its temper, and it no longer presses on the wire like it should, and you'll get intermittence. These houses here are wired with them. I've had two fail already. Now, I thought I had one of them terminals so I could show you, but you should understand that there's these type of terminals. Come with screws, just jab connections or stab connections, or both. And I always buy the ones with both. And then if I get in there and someone's got it wired up with the bolts, I just unscrew the bolts out. I leave the loop the guy made, and I reuse his loop. I don't want to shorten the wire, but using the radio really works well. Now, in my case, I show my father that, and he got down in the cellar, and he's throwing the breakers. He can't. First of all, if you can't hear the radio upstairs that's on, why would you start throwing the breakers off? He goes, "This isn't working." And I said to him, "This is the breaker here." "How do you know?" I said, "I can hear the radio going on and off up in the kitchen." "Oh, I can't hear that." I said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you." When he turned 50, he did get the glasses. Him and my mother both needed glasses, and they had these fights because they couldn't see anything anymore. And they both got the same prescription. And then one would misplace their glasses, and the other one would have the other person's glasses on. And the other person was looking frantically for their glasses that were just there. Meanwhile, and then they would forget they had the other person's glasses on. I lived with my parents until they both died, and they got really squirrely. And one of my friends started explaining that to me with his parents, and I got to experience his parents. They were always very nice to me, and I would take care of their house when they would go away. And they come back, and they were nasty to me. I told them I got a job, and they kept calling me. They wanted something, and they had other children, but they called me, and I didn't answer the phone. And I went over and I said, you know, I was asleep. I'm working night shift. I don't believe you. They actually said that to me. I was like, what do you? So then they started yelling at me to give them the phone number of the place that I work. I just started walking out of the house. And the other idiot next door heard them yelling at me. And he starts yelling at me, what are you doing to them? I go, fuck you, shut the fuck up. And I went home. And I never talked to any of them ever again. Old people get weird. I'm getting weird, but I admit it. Other people think when they're old, they're doing weird things. They think it's normal. I know right away it's cognitive decline. And you hear me, I lose words. I sort of laugh when I lose a word, and then I have to think about it. And but I just wanted to show you the trick is when this thing works correctly, and you can't put your fingers on the little thing or you won't hear it. What a piece of junk. This is the second one to have failed. Look at that. It does. Yeah, it does sometimes work. Look at now, it's working every time. But this is the one to get, and it's got writing on it that explains to you, and it's up here. This says okay. If this light over here is lights, um, the outlet's wired backwards. The hot and the neutral. See, the short one is hot, the long one is neutral, and this one's ground. And then you get in the argument which way uh, the outlet should be put in the wall. It's the round hole towards the bottom. Most people do it that way, but there are houses that the outlets are upside down. And how you know it's upside down is uh, on this outlet, you want the wire to come off the bottom, right? Think about this. You mount it like this. So that's the way the outlets are. And also, when the outlets are upside down, there are wall warts for air conditioners. When you plug, they have a monitoring wall wart off the air conditioner, and it prevents the thing from the motor from burning out. Like if the power fails and comes back on too soon, and that can only go that can only go in one outlet, and it hangs down. If you if you have the outlet upside down, you plug it in. It's stupid. It's just so. If your house is wired upside down, I don't know what to tell you. But there are people that argue that. I had an electrician argue that with me, and then a few years later he saw me and he says he ran into some troubles. He put the outlets in the house upside down, and people wanted them changed around or flipped. But the radio is a great trick. And what's also good about it is you can mark your breaker box. It has little tags, and you can put the radio in like the bedroom and plug it in. You hear it, you know it's in the master bedroom. You go down, you turn the switches on and off, and the one that goes on and off turns it on and off. Your master bedroom, bathroom. So when the next time you have to troubleshoot, you go down there. It's labeled now. Mine is labeled, but the handwriting is faded. The house is 35 years old or something like that, and nothing works. But it's so funny. When I left Jersey, this used to light, and this is a neon bulb in here. It's not an LED. And then this is a fuse. This is pretty good. This was on my workbench in New Jersey. I have that one over there now. I don't know if this is in the frame. It's white. That's a Sears. This was a hardware store thing, and yeah, this was extra outlets. And I don't know if the mark's still there. No. I was working on a cuckoo clock. This used to be on the side of the workbench, and the chains for the cuckoo clock came across and hit one of the outlets. There was a plug in the outlet. There was enough room in the plug between the plug and the outlet that the cuckoo clock chain got in there, and it vaporized the cuckoo clock chain. And I was standing in the dark, and I'm like, what the hell just happened, And then I got my flashlight and I looked. I said, "Oh, okay." I'm looking at the cuckoo clock, and the part of the chain is down on the floor. Uh, that's why I don't want to get into telling you what's inside. I'm just telling you how to troubleshoot. Uh, be, if you already know. And the trick is those stab connection ones, they fatigue and they no longer grip the wire. That's how they fail. And then the outlet that's been used for a vacuum cleaner. The women, maybe men too, but instead of grabbing the plug and wiggling and pulling it out, they tug on the wire. So over a period of time, when you look at that outlet, it's really worn looking. The slots are worn, and that neighbor's like, "I've been outside. I changed the outlet twice. I don't have any voltage out there." He goes, the porch light won't work. And I'm like, on the inside of the house, on the same wall, I said, "You're going to see an outlet that, ask the wife if that's the outlet she uses for the vacuum cleaner." I said, "You'll open that up, you'll find the screws are loose." And he's thinking right away, well, if those are loose, that outlet wouldn't work. And I said, "No, the power for the outside light and the outlet, you had an outlet outside, come off that outlet. That outlet will work fine because the wiring comes up maybe from the bottom or from the top. There's two screws. There's four screws on the outlet, and the power comes down, and those two screws are tight, and that outlet works. But then the bottom two wires that come off that are the ones that are loose, and they go outside." And the next day, he's coming out to his car. He's going out somewhere. He calls me over and goes, "Ooh, that was pretty good. And that was the outlet you used for the vacuum cleaner." I said, "Yeah, it's." I said, I told him the whole story about me. And my father going, "Oh, he went off on a tangent. I don't want that stereo in the house. Look what it's doing. It's drawing so much power." It was just a coincidence. And I used an outlet that hadn't been used. And that's not the problem outlet. The problem outlet was across the room. And then I proved it to him. And then, of course, he doesn't like me when I show him up. Oh, my God. So I took the stereo up to my room. And then years later, my mom died. He was going to buy a really good stereo. And we go out to the stereo place. And I'm thinking about this girl I knew from high school. And she was into stereos and records and music. We walk into the place, there she is. And I'm speechless, and I liked her. And I'm like trying to talk to her, and my father's like, "Help me pick out a stereo." I'm like, in a minute, in a minute. So anyway, he picked the cheapest goddamn stereo in the place. He said, "I'm going to buy me a bit." So he was going to spend $1,000, and he might have spent $250, and he brought this thing home. And I said, "Now look, this is a FET front end. You hook it to the cable, but don't hook it to the antenna." "Oh, I want what was it, something Silver Circus, Silver, no, uh, Lake Success, that's it." My father could never listen to a local station, either AM or FM. "I want to listen to Lake Success." Now I went on the cable. I had the radio on the cable, and it got Lake Success, but all the frequencies were off a little bit from the dial because the cable company was amplifying them, remixing, whatever. So they were off. "Well, I can't find Lake Success." So he insisted he wanted an antenna. And I had an antenna. I ran the wire over, and then I had a single pole double throw switch, or double pole double throw switch on it for him. And I said, "Look, when you're done with this, disconnect the antenna." I said, "Lightning strikes anywhere near this." That's what happened. I couldn't fix the radio. You couldn't get the schematic. The company that sold him the radio wouldn't send it back. So I brought my stereo up, or yeah, it was down in the cellar by that point, and it was a Sony Super Scope. I don't remember. No, it was a Panasonic Technics, and that's the one he complained drew so much power. So I put that in his cabinet, and it worked until he used it until he died. But some of the stuff you put up with, I put up with, and I'm always out there, and people are constantly, "I got this problem. I got." Now when I moved here, everybody's outside outlet went bad, and I went over to mine. I pulled that out. It was the jab connectors, the silver. I think it was the silver side, and I put this thing into it, and of course one of the lights doesn't come on. And crazy lady, we had actual crazy lady here. She thought she knew everything, and I showed her this. I said, I changed the outlet. Now I have both. It's a safe outlet. You got the power, and the ground is correct. So I went over and I plugged it in hers. It didn't work. I said, yeah. I said, it could be the inside outlet, but it's probably the outside. And she kept, her house was built before mine, and it was built better. There was actually an outlet box that was in a box on the wall of the house, and then the aluminum siding went over it. Mine floats on the aluminum siding. It's actually aluminum with vinyl on it. And she kept coming over my house and opening the little hatches and looking at it. I caught her a few times, like, get off my property, you're nuts. And but she kept saying, this isn't done right. Your house isn't done. Get away, go away. It isn't done right. They put the outlet on the aluminum siding, and I think it might be even a plastic box. But anyway, that's the stuff I go through. It's just like nothing's easy. That's all I got to tell you is nothing easy. Right down to, I pull this out and the light don't work. This here, if you hold it the wrong way, you can't hear it. It's working now. See, this is the Harbor Freight. Oh wait, maybe because I have this in here. Who knows? Scientific method. Yeah, it's working now. Well, anyway, it is what it is. But I don't tell anybody to use a voltmeter anymore because they could be on the wrong scale. And the stuff I go through, and oh, somebody just asked me to recommend a radio. No. I ain't getting. not going down that road. You know where that goes? You should. Well, I'm having trouble with the radio. I know where it's going to go, and you're like, well, I won't bother you. You're saying that now. And the other thing too is, I told you, I had people that would give me stuff to fix, and I'd fix it. Or they'd give it to me to have, and I'd fix it, and I'd be using it. Oh, you fixed it, and they keep bugging me every time they see me. How's that radio working? I give it back to them. That's what they wanted. And then they shut up. All right. And several times people did something stupid to something. And then it broke and it was brand new. They didn't send it back. They gave it to me. I fixed it. Then they bothered me to get it back. That's why I'm like I am. I tell people I'm a vessel of regrets and anger. And I had some really horrible dreams last night. And it's all my past now. I didn't do anything to anybody in my past, but in my dream, the person will say to me, "You're that kind of person." I'm like, "I didn't do it." Yep, no, you're that kind of person. It's like I'm getting guilt from people in my dreams for stuff I never did to anybody. Oh, I woke up. I had to sit on the edge of the bed last night. I'm like, why me? Why? It's like I'm almost having somebody else's dreams. That's how bad it is. But the people in the dreams are people I know. And yeah, it's definitely anxiety that's attacking me. And I'm trying not to watch YouTube. I'm trying not to watch the politics, because anybody else in there as president would have resigned by now. Just saying, I did really mess up, and or at least say no. It's just he went to Pedo Island. He didn't want anybody to know he went to Pedo Island, but he seems to be getting away with it. Anybody else was like, wasn't one of the guys involved in England went to that island, and he had apologized, and the only reason you go to that island is to have sex with underage girls. It's that simple, all right? But nothing's going to happen to the guy, and that's what's starting to eat at me. And Trump deranged syndrome. No, I'm a normal person, and I vote either Democrat or Republican depending on the person running. And he's holding the report back because his name is on it. Right there, the Republicans are supposed to go in a room, 25th Amendment. They don't. Nobody cares anymore. And George Carlin is absolutely right. Go watch older George Carlins. And in one of the George Carlins on YouTube, the guy has him, the name of that circle thing, you go back through time. Oh, damn. See, this is the stuff I have to put up with. Time zone? No. Anyway, it's that the people go through that thing, and they can travel through different parts of the galaxy through the gate, something gate, right? Anyway, when you're watching Carlin doing his routine, you're watching through Starlink, Stargate. So I got it, Stargate. And but that's not really true. The Stargate, it's not really a time machine. But George Carlin knew what people were all about. And I always tried to be a good person and try to teach and help people and teach them. It all went wrong because people get jealous of you. They want to argue with you. It's not, I have regrets. Let's just put it that way. I think that's it. I think that's it for now. Like I said, I wanted to show you the real tool. It might come in different colors, and it's the real deal. You know what I mean? It's the real deal. With this, wait, it even fits good. Let's see if this works now with the switch. See, I know not to trust my life with this thing. All right. Oh, see, I got my finger over the dopey hole. Nope, see? It just tells you there's power down in there. Yeah, what a piece of junk. I think that's it. All right, that's it.